I quickly just wanted to make a video on this because there was a discussion in the A Bizarre Day Discord saying that the community trading tier list is like hot garbage, bro. Like it is ass. And I honestly agree. Basically, what the discussion was about was this whole tier list was made by two moderators, right? It was made by a moderator, and then it was made by the person who manages the Trello, which is the website I'm on now. And then about 9 community members, only 9, made a few tweaks to it. It's not a really good representation of how rare things are, so I'm going to go over it a little bit and see, like, if I agree with anything, if anything should be moved. I didn't really want to make another whole tier list, so I'm just going to do it like this. So, everything on the top I agree with pretty much, because these are all admin stands that nobody can get, and these are all unobtainable. Best of the World's probably the highest in demand, but it says unstable because they're all unobtainable. So we're just going to skip those tiers, and we're going to go straight to S. So S rank, I agree with pretty much everything here. The only thing I don't agree with is Maiden Hallows Eve and Maiden Galaxy. I think they should be swapped. The thing is, Maiden Galaxy, you need to get the shiny version of Sea Moon, and then you also need to get Maiden Galaxy, and both of those come down to chance. But Maiden Hallows Eve only comes down to chance when you're getting Sea Moon. So I'm going to quickly swap those around. To kind of explain a bit, to get Maiden Galaxy, you have to get Shiny Sea Moon, which is a 1 in 10 chance to get when you use a diary on White Snake to get Sea Moon. And then it's a 1 in 3 chance to get Maiden Galaxy when you go into the Light Pillar, which spawns every 10 minutes with a 1 in 5 chance in certain places. But Maiden Hallows Eve is a 5% chance to get when you use it on when you use a diary on Sea Moon normally. And it's a 50% chance when you use a diary on G Moon. So I think it's not as rare. Maybe that might come down to interpretation. But personally, I don't think I wouldn't trade Maiden Galaxy for Maiden Hallows Eve if that's what I'm trying to say. I wouldn't. I would. That wouldn't. Like maybe I would. I don't know. That's what I'm trying to say. These two should be swapped. But other than that, everything on S rank is pretty good. Neo Tuskak 4 is easily the rarest stand in the game, and Chroma Shadow of the World might have to go in A tier, but I'm not too sure because where's normal Shadow of the World? Shadow of the World's not on the list. So I'm going to say Shadow of the World is where Camera is, and if Shadow of the World is A tier, I think Chroma Shadow of the World should also be A tier. But if Vampiric the World's here, which is you need that to get Shadow of the World, Camera's here, and Chromatic Cube's here, I don't know how these three add up to Chroma Shadow of the World being an S tier. I'm going to move Chroma Shadow of the World down a bit, but Chromatic Carmine shouldn't be in A tier either, or like not there. That's a bit of grey area for now, we'll get to that. But the main thing that was under discussion was Manga King Crimson and Tusk Act 3. For some reason, Tusk Act 3 is here right below Manga King Crimson. So this was what kind of ignited the discussion. People seem to think Tusk Act 3 isn't that rare, but like when you look like at it statistically, it kind of is. Because you need to get like I think it's 3 whole corpse parts to get Tusk Act 3. Which is pretty hard to do because it's not a common drop. But that being said, I do think it's not Manga King Crimson uncommon, right? Manga King Crimson is a 1% chance to get, like when you try to get normal King Crimson. I don't think it's that rare. I think it is A tier rare, but I don't think it's that rare. If Tusk Act 4 was on the list, the only way. If Tusk Act 4 was on the list, if Tusk Act 3 is here, then Tusk Act 4 would have to be an A tier. I mean S tier. Tusk Act 4 would have to be an S tier. So, I'm going to move this down a little bit. I'm going to move it down pretty far, actually, to below G Moon. But to do that, I'm also going to have to move the corpse part down. And I think Chromatic Cube should be right next to Mono Orb, because these, while they might not be in high demand, demand is pretty important. But, I'm going to swap these around. I'm actually going to swap the 3 of these around. The only reason I move these around is because shiny Tuskegee 4 is really high in demand, to the point where it impacts how high in demand Tuskegee 3 is. So Corpse Part and then Tuskegee 3, I feel like this is much better. There's a big grey area between, well, at least for me, between where Manga King Crimson and Oyo King Crimson, which is rarer. Because Manga King Crimson, if you look at it statistically, Manga King Crimson is a 1% chance to get. But to get a monochromatic orb to use on Oyo King Crimson, that's a 0.5% chance to get, right? But the thing is, you can't really compare these two to rarity by statistics, because Manga King Crimson, the way you get it is it's a shiny version of King Crimson. You get King Crimson by using 2 frogs on Doppio King Crimson. And when you do that, you have a 1% chance to get Manga King Crimson. If you don't get Manga King Crimson, it's over. But to get Oyo King Crimson, you have to use a mono orb on King Crimson. So you can have King Crimson in your inventory for months and just wait until you get a mono orb. Which is why Oyo King Crimson, in my opinion, isn't as rare. I thought that it was rare for a while, just based on statistics. But you've got to look at the method to getting it. If you don't get Manga King Crimson, you have to start again. But if you don't get Oyo King Crimson, you can't just fail to get Oyo King Crimson. You have to get a mono orb. It's kind of like comparing Retro the World to the World Over Heaven. You're comparing a shiny stand to an evolved stand. Oyo King Crimson's not a shiny, it's an evolution. It might not do anything, but it's an evolution because it uses an item to upgrade it. Even though it doesn't have any difference, you're still using the item. So that's sort of that situation. Castle Crasher Anubis, I think, should be here right next to Chromatic Cube. Same sort of deal with Chromatic Harmon, actually. Because Chromatic Harmon can be bought, so I think this should be down here as well.
Just thought I should clarify, you can't buy Chromatic Harmon, you can only buy Harmon, but you can use a Chromatic Cube after you buy Harmon, so that's what I meant by that.
This makes more sense. Manga King Crimson is regarded as one of, for a very long time actually, was regarded as one of the rarest stands in the game. Just because of how hard it was to get. I don't know if it's like that now. Now we're down to here. We've got Golden Cars, Camera, Golden White Snake, and Mono Orb. So here's the thing. This is a trading tier list. And if we're looking at it statistically, Chromatic Cube and Mono Orb are the exact same rarity to get from digging. If it wasn't for the fact that Chromatic Cube just came out and that it's in high demand, I would actually move it down. But it is pretty high in demand right now. And Golden Cars isn't so much high in demand. Camera is. So I'm going to move Camera and Golden Cars around just because of the demand. Because I've tried to trade my Golden Cars recently for some stuff. And really I can't. So Golden Cars and Golden White Snake. Golden Cars is above Golden White Snake because Cars is harder to get than White Snake. Right? But they're still obtained with the Golden Mask. So in my opinion, turning White Snake into Golden White Snake kind of makes it less good. I think you're downgrading it when you're making a Golden White Snake. Because you're giving it the value of the Golden Mask, but you can't upgrade it anymore. So I don't think Golden White Snake should even be in A tier. I think it should be below Golden Mask. But here's the thing, is Golden Mask in B tier? I would say it isn't. But for the sake of this, I'm going to just quickly do this right now. Because I've traded my Golden Mask for a Camera quite easily. But I think Camera might actually be in high demand right now. So I think this is actually good. I think this is good. I've traded a Golden Mask for a Camera, but right now I think Camera's in pretty high demand. I reckon that dude regrets it now. But yeah, this is good. Golden White Snake, in my opinion, this is subjective. Depends on how much you like White Snake itself. But I think you're actually downgrading it because you could get G-Moon with it. You could get Made in Galaxy with it. But you can't upgrade it once you have Golden White Snake. So you lose that kind of ability to potentially get better stands. So now we have Mono... What is that? Mono Purple Haze? Yeah, I agree with that. Even though it is a Mono, the reason I agree with that is because Purple Haze is also pretty common. I'm pretty sure it's a B tier stand. So it's pretty common. You're downgrading the value of a Mono Orb by getting Mono Purple Haze, in my opinion. For the longest time, I didn't even know it existed. It's only recently that people are getting it because so much more people are digging for chromatic cube and they're getting chromatic orb, right? It's kind of gotten more popular now. Vampiric the World. Um, is there a vampire mask on this list? There isn't. The world's on this list, and all you need is a vampire mask. I don't think Vampiric the World is rare enough for it to be an entire tier and 5 stands above the world. I think the world and Vampiric the World are very like close. I don't know why Vampiric the World is in B tier. Maybe trading wise it is. I have to give it some credibility because it's good to trade because a lot of people want Chroma Shadow of the World right now. I'm gonna leave that there because I don't know at the moment. I don't really know. Tuskax 2. I think Tuskax 2 should also stay there. Because that's 2 corpse parts, right? Because you need to get spin and then use a corpse part to get Tuskax 1 and then another one to get Tuskax 2. That's 2 corpse parts. If 1 corpse part is an A, then 2 corpse parts should not be in B, like statistically. But trading wise, nobody wants to get an extra 2 corpse parts. Like, that sounds crazy considering how hard Tuskax 2 is to get. But like, honestly, I wouldn't trade anything for Tuskax 2 because Tuskax 2 is fucking terrible for PvP, terrible for grind, terrible for everything other than the fact that you can get potentially Tuskax 4 or Shiny Tuskax 4 for it. It's not a good stand. The only thing that it has going for it is Tuskax 4. So that kind of does bring the value down a bit. I do agree. Enderpearl's in B. If you don't know, Enderpearl is the rarest item in the game, like rarest drop item in the game. It spawns one every hour with a 1 in 350 chance. It's the rarest item in the game. And it kind of makes me mad that like Ender Crimson and Ender Pearl are below like Manga King Crimson with an item that rare, right? Like Manga King Crimson might be a 1% chance to get, but Ender Crimson is just that much rarer. It's rarer than Oreo King Crimson 100%. There's no way it's not. Because digging 0.5% chance, yeah. But like, I don't even want to know what percent chance 1 in 350 chance every hour is. You could wait for 350 hours and still not get it. Which is like, what, 3 weeks? I don't know. So I'm going to make a pretty drastic change right now. I'm going to move Mono Orb back a bit. I'm going to put Golden Mask down here. And I'm going to move all of these one to the side. I'm going to put Ender Crimson here. Trading wise, I would trade Oreo King Crimson. I'll trade Manga King Crimson for Ender Crimson. For an item that rare, I don't think that deserves to be in B at all. I think the reason why this item isn't in high demand is because people just low-key forget that it exists because of how rare it is. Like, looking at the statistics, like, I've said a lot of times, like, statistic-wise doesn't really matter. But in this case, it is so statistically rare that it's, like, not even a question. Like, you can't even say that people don't want Ender Crimson because it's that rare. I think I'm going to put the Ender Pearl, because right now I would trade an Ender Pearl for G-Moon because I'm trying to get Main Galaxy. But, I don't know. Actually, you know what? I'm going to stick to my word. I'm going to put Ender Pearl next above Manga King Crimson. Because it is very rare. It is very rare. I haven't even seen one, like, as of the 3.5 update. I haven't even seen, I don't think I've seen a fucking Ender Crimson since this update. I don't think I have. They're that uncommon. I don't know why it's not in more demand. Because it is literally rarer than Manga King Crimson. Like, getting frogs is hard. But, like, getting an Ender Pearl is fucking harder. Like, Jesus Christ. Like, you can throw that entire argument about a shiny stand versus an evolved stand out the window when it comes to something that rare. Like, I can't express enough how rare that is. Anyway, I agree with the rest of B tier now. Because my Ender Crimson and Ender Pearl should have been way higher to start with. I would put it in S if it wasn't for the fact that S tier is rare and in demand. But for some reason, Ender Crimson's just not in demand. I don't know why. Like, for me, it is. I want Ender Crimson bad. But I don't think I could get a trade for Chroma Shadow of the World with Ender Crimson. Because people just don't want it. It's not high in demand, but because it's so rare, I have to put it above it at everything else in A tier. Let's just keep going, though. So C rank is this stuff, right? Universal Gold Experience is an arrow shiny, right? If you're gonna put every arrow shiny in the same tier, I think Universal Gold Experience should be there as well. But it has Requiem, and Requiem is obviously put here. So these are all bad arrow shinies. We'll get to that when we get to it. Universal Gold Experience, I think should stay there just because of Requiem. But if it wasn't for Requiem, it would be a bad arrow shiny. Let's keep going. Retro the World. Retro the World has been in kind of a bit of beef recently because apparently my understanding is that they tried to remove the barrage in the time slot, but they didn't do it properly, so now you just get banned for it, I think. Either that or there's some kind of bug that you have to do to unlock it, and that's what bans you. I don't know. I've seen people say that they didn't know that it was bug abuse, but the thing is, like, how would you not know that if you have to do a bug? Maybe it's just an accidental thing. I think it should be patched out completely, but it might in the future. It probably will in the future if it's that big of a deal. But let's keep going. I'm gonna keep Retro the World Over Heaven there because it's not really rare. It's not worth trading. It's used to be. I remember when Retro the World Over Heaven and Retro Star Platinum Over Heaven would have been in like an S tier. Now they're not good because there's so many more shinies of like current stands. It's just different now. The game has completely changed. So White Snake. Yeah, White Snake should be there. I think it's not far off from Golden White Snake. I think White Snake should be a. Actually, no, I'm gonna move White Snake. I think White Snake should be either bottom of A tier or the top of B tier, just because of what you can get with it. Because you can get some pretty good trades for White Snake because people are trying to get that made in Galaxy. So I'm gonna move it a little bit. Yeah, this is good. White Snake, Golden White Snake's below it because you can't upgrade it anymore. But it's about as worth as Golden Mask. So I can't really do it much with that. I don't know why Retro Star Platinum is above Retro Star Platinum Over Heaven. Is there anything that you can do with Retro Star Platinum that's not turn it into Over Heaven other than keep it? I don't think there is. Does turning Retro Star Platinum into Retro Star Platinum Over Heaven make it worth less than a Dio Diary? I think it does because you can do a lot more with the Dio Diary. But then Retro the World goes to Retro the World Over Heaven way better than Star Platinum does into Over Heaven. That's weird. I don't get it. Because Retro Star Platinum Over Heaven isn't inherently bad, is it? I'm not sure. Because Star Platinum is pretty good for PvP. I think it's, yeah, actually, well, Star Platinum's pretty good for PvP. But I think trade-wise, Star Platinum Over Heaven should be above Star Platinum. It's tough. This is really tough because Retro the World is at the bottom of C tier, but Retro the World Over Heaven is almost at the top of C tier. But then it's like the opposite, kind of. The World's Greatest Highs is kind of thrown in the mix there. I think Retro the World to start with should go up a lot more. I think it should go to a bit above the Diary. It's still an arrow shiny, but like you can get the World's Greatest High with it. Because Dio's like people kind of forget you can dig for Dio Diary. I don't know if people forget that, but you can, and it's pretty easy to get. You don't have to kill Dio. Yeah, I think I kind of agree with it. Retro Star Platinum Over Heaven shouldn't be that far down, but I'm gonna have to completely redo this. I think. Nah, retro. These have to change as well. There's no way the World's Greatest High is below Diary. So, Retro the World is below the World. For this, then the World's Greatest High is there. Yeah, I kind of agree with that actually. So, here's my explanation. The World is above Retro the World simply because the World is more universal. You can turn it into the World Over Heaven. You can turn it into Vampiric the World, which you can turn into that. But with Retro the World, you can turn it into the World's Greatest High, which is just Vampiric the World that can't turn into Shadow the World. So trading wise, the World's Greatest High is pretty cool, but I think trading wise, it's not as good. I kind of did World's Greatest High a little bit dirty here. I'm gonna probably change it here, like this. Because the world's greatest high is the end of its evolutionary path. You can't do anything with it. But Vampiric the World, you can make it into Shadow the World. So for trading wise, it's probably better because of Retro Shadow the World and Chroma Shadow the World. Shadow the World in general is just in high demand right now because of the recent update. That's why Vampiric the World is in B tier. The world's greatest high, I know I did do it a bit dirty because it is really cool. I do like it. But trading wise, I don't think it's as good. It does have the road roller ability, but I don't think that ability alone puts it above much more. Anyways, Retro Star Platinum is above Star Platinum over Heaven because it's just simply better for PvP.
For the longest time, Star Platinum was actually worse than Star Platinum over Heaven. But not too long ago, I think 2020, 2021, Star Platinum got a rework, which eventually made it better than Star Platinum over Heaven. So for a while, Star Platinum over Heaven was better than Star Platinum, but now it isn't. It's kind of outdated now.
Like, Retro Star Platinum over Heaven, in my opinion, was never good. Even when it was unattainable, it wasn't that good. I'm bad at PvP, so I'm bad with Star Platinum over Heaven, but I'm worse with Star Platinum over Heaven than I am with Star Platinum. I think this is good right now, because Dio Diary and Requiem arrows spawn, but they're the same chance when digging. So if you're not digging, Dio's Diary is above Requiem arrow because you've got to kill a boss. But other than that, like when you're digging for them, they're the same chance. So I think that's pretty good. Now we've got the arrow shinies. Now there's not much I can change here, because these arrow shinies are all the same rarity. I'm fairly certain. The only thing I have to change is Steve's Star Platinum over Heaven, and probably one more time, because I'm 90% sure Wizards Azure and Azure Doppio King Crimson are also just arrow shinies. For those who don't know, all arrow shinies are the same rarity. They're all, I think it's like 1% to get an arrow shiny, I think. I think they're all 1%, but the methods for getting one more time and Star Platinum over Heaven are different. So I'm gonna have to move these. But I don't know about Wizards Azure, so that's kind of a grey area. I don't really know how to get those. I'm pretty sure they're just arrow shinies, but because one more time's pretty rare. One more time's an arrow shiny, but you have to be in the default C dimension to get it, and you have to be in a certain spot. So that's probably the rarest shiny. And then Steve Star Platinum over Heaven, you get it. You need to get Creeper Queen, which is just a 1% arrow shiny, but use a diary on it. So that also should be at the top of this sort of tier. Also, I don't know what Green Shadow the World is. I think that's a bug. I'm just gonna yeet that tier because that's kind of dumb. I don't know why they would put that there. Luger sucks. I just don't like it as a stand, honestly. Some of them are good and bad for PvP, so I guess they would be better tradable. I don't know why Doppio King Crimson is so high up, because it's new, but yeah, I'm gonna move Doppio King Crimson. Even though it is new, it's very, very bad for PvP. I don't even know, like, honestly, I don't even know why it's a shiny, to be, like, fully honest with you. Wizards of Jewel, that's really good for PvP, and it's a shiny, so that should be at the top. Star Platinum Stone Ocean and Star Platinum The World are pretty good for PvP. That's good PvP. These are all good for PvP, so I'm not going to change them. Kill Queen is alright for PvP. Crazy Watermelon and Crazy Ruby. I think Killer Queen should be below these, because these are, like, really good for grinding. There's a reason to keep these, right? Because Crazy Diamond's really good, it's just not rare. But, like, these are kind of rare. I think I'm actually going to put it here. I'm going to move them up. Because Star Platinum The World's better for PvP than Star Platinum Stone Ocean. So yeah, I redid the shinies a little bit. But, like, these, like, rarity-wise, these are all the same. It's just sort of for, like, purpose, really. Like, Creeper Queen's good to get Star Platinum Stone Ocean. Star Platinum. Steve Platinum, right? Wizards Azure. I'm just gonna say fucking Blue Magician's Red is really good for PvP. Retro, what is that? Silver Chariot. Silver Chariot's good for PvP. Like, it's underrated for PvP, I might say. King Crimson AU. People just want Sans Crimson. People just want it for some reason. Because it's Undertale. Creeper Queen has got a purpose. Crazy Watermelon, Crazy Ruby have a purpose. Stone Free is alright for PvP. Neo the World Alternate Universe. I remember people used to say it was really good for PvP and they would like glaze it because it was rare. But like honestly it just isn't. It's just not. It has two I think it has 3 melee moves and two long distance. And the long distance moves aren't even that good. Does it even have a time stop? I think it does actually. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it has a time stop. It's just not good for PvP. It really isn't. Star Platinum the World's probably better, but fuck, I couldn't be bothered to change it. Actually, yeah, I will. Star Platinum the World is like, dare I say, underrated for PvP. That magic word once again. This is just my opinion, and kind of like the reason I decided to make the tier list is just because the sample size for the current like official quote unquote tier list is like ridiculous. And I wanted to change it, but the main point that I'm trying to make is that if you've seen me do any of these changes and you disagree with it, that's good. That is good because that means that you can't just pick a small sample size, let alone a sample size at all, and make an official tier list. Imagine if I said this is the official tier list, and that if you trade anything below Tusk Act 3 for Tusk Act 3, then you're going against the official word of the developers. With a game like this, there can't be an official word for a tier list. I don't think there should be a tier list at all, personally. I don't think there should be a tier list because everything here takes like some type of effort to get. Who's to say that Manga King Crimson takes more effort to get than Oreo King Crimson? Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. You could just so happen to get Manga King Crimson on your first try, and then spend 3 weeks digging to get Oreo King Crimson. That's a possibility that could happen. Probably rare, but it could happen. And in that particular singled out case, you can't say Manga King Crimson is rarer than Oreo King Crimson, even though statistically it is. Everything comes down to current demand at the time. I'm sure that in 6 months, if 4.0 doesn't come out by then, in 6 months, once the hype for Chroma Shadow of the World has died down, I have no doubt that this will leave S tier, and that Chromatic Cube will be next to Mono. It's only like when Golden Cars came out, Golden Cars would have been considered an S tier stand because of the hype around it. Same thing with Golden Mars. Golden Mars would have been the only S tier item. But once the hype for it died down, it eventually did move down. So Chroma Shadow of the World will eventually leave S tier. That's why it's at the bottom of S tier now, because the hype will eventually die down. But this is the tier list right now. If there were to be an official tier list, it would literally change every week. It would literally change every week. And the sample size would have to be the entire community. It's just better to not have a tier list. You can visualize how rare things are on your own accord, but there will always be things that like a majority of people disagree with, which you've probably seen in this video. Because this is a hot take up here with Endocrims, and that's a pretty hot take that most people would probably disagree with. And that is why you can't have a tier list for a game like this. I don't think there should be one at all. If you want this to be fully visualized in an official quote matter, then I think they should redo this whole thing, but with a much, much bigger sample size. I think because there are potentially thousands of people in the ABD community right now. This game gets like 200 peak players a day. Like on a good day. That's besides the point. This is no disrespect to the people who made it. I know it probably sounds like I'm not being as sincere as I feel, but this tier list is like peculiar. And I changed it to what I think. And if you don't agree with it, that's good. But I'm repeating myself at this point. This is it for today's video. I'm gonna go and edit this now. Also, this shouldn't be fucking here. Why are these tiers? This is dumb. Get that out of here. That's my tier list. Screenshot this. Put this in the trailer. I love you. Goodbye.